What's up, family? Pardon my tardiness. What is up? You're going to have to excuse my tardiness. Listen, let me go live here too. Go live. What's up? Y'all don't want to miss this. What is up, family? We're about to talk about the three. I did two, but we're talking about three most common mistakes made when doing shadow work. The three most common mistakes made when doing shadow work. We got to get into this topic. What's up to my family on YouTube? What's up to my family here on IG? Hello, Aaron. We're about to talk about the three most common mistakes made when doing shadow work. Y'all got to excuse the slight tardiness because technology is just like shady, right? Technology is just shady. And yeah, so it is what it is. I made a presentation for the family. And I am still going to try to present it. Because I wanted to give visuals, because I know some of y'all are auditory learners, some of y'all are visual learners, some maybe both, and I want to give you both. But we're going to see what this technology do. Okay, we may be getting somewhere. Let me see. Let me turn on. Let me see. What can I do from there? We're about to get into this shadow work. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because so many people be doing shadow work. I'm trying to still figure out my presentation, y'all, so just hang out. All right, we coming in, Sarah, with the donation. Appreciate that, sis. Appreciate that. Y'all be patient with me as I attempt to get this presentation together, because I made it and I want to be able to use it. So be patient with me. Be patient with me as I try to figure this out. Why do we have to talk about shadow work? I can start telling you that right now. We got to talk about shadow work because it is such a common conversation that we have when we're talking about spirituality. And I think a lot of times we rush into doing shadow work without having a full understanding of what it actually is. And so I am going to support you in having that understanding. And I'm going to do that by telling you the three most common mistakes that people make when doing shadow work. Okay? This video will be saved. So you will be able to tap in with it. Image slideshow. Let me see. I'm playing with this technology, y'all. But once you practice, it makes perfect, right? Let me see. Stop when visible, restart when visible, pause when not visible. Okay. Let's see if I can come up. Okay, let me see what I can add. This really sucks because I got something for y'all. I want y'all to be able to see. What I got going on. And the fact that I can't show y'all it is really annoying right now. Tried to go live on Zoom to make it happen. That didn't work. Let's try this. Because y'all don't need to see my beautiful face. Y'all done seen this face time and time again. So let's go to screen capture. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna have to figure out that another day. I really wanted to be able to show y'all this PowerPoint that I made to give you the visual understanding of it, but it's not happening right now, and I can't force it, right? So, what is the shadow? What is the shadow self? Let's first jump right on into that. The shadow self really is the side of you that you hide. It's the side of you that you avoid. It's the side of you that you rarely acknowledge. And it's not that you hide it, you avoid it, or you rarely acknowledge it because you don't like yourself or so on and so forth. But it's a part of us that we are really kind of unconscious of until we become aware of it, until we start doing the spiritual work. Okay? It's the part of us that we just, we don't recognize what it is. And it's because we've lived with it for so long. We've lived with these negative beliefs, this negative self-talk, this low vibrational emotions, these triggers. We've lived with them for so long that we think that it's just, a way of life. And it is. The shadow self is a natural part of your human experience. It's a part of your humanity. The shadow self plus Windows capture. Let me try to see what Dream is talking about here. The shadow self is a Windows capture. Okay, I see that, love. Okay, maybe I got something here. I don't know. Capture cursor. Okay. I want you to capture. Let's try that again. Discard that. Discard that. Okay, babe, I think you just showed me something, maybe. Maybe you just showed me something. Thank you, love. I'm sorry y'all are having to see all of the business, but I really want to show y'all this. I really want to help y'all to get it. I really want to help y'all to get it from a visual standpoint. So, okay, let's see. That's my slide right there. But how will I be able to go to the next one? I really want to show y'all this. Maybe I'll just have to, maybe I'll just have to, maybe I'll just have to, let me see. Let me see. All right, y'all. Dream, you're going to have to help me, but you busy, so we'll get to it another day. So the shadow self is really a part of your human experience. It's a part of your humanity. It's a part of everything that has made you to be the person that you are. Okay? And so you have to understand that a part of healing, a part of transformation is going to be looking at the shadow, making that connection with yourself. Understand this, the shadow self, simply put, is your pain body, right? We have multiple bodies. You got the physical body, you got the emotional body. The emotional body and the pain body is the same thing. It's energy. And then obviously you have the spirit body. The pain body is what's connected directly to the shadow self. The shadow self is connected to your childhood trauma that has been unresolved. The shadow self is connected to unhealthy, subconscious, unconscious belief systems that you have. Okay, so the shadow self really is the part of you that has been negatively conditioned by the human experience. Your mama was this or that, right? Your daddy wasn't present. Okay? Your mother didn't give you all the hugs and kisses that you wanted. Your dad abandoned you. You were bullied while you were at school. All of those things are what make up the shadow self. Babe, you keep on giving me new ideas and stuff like that, and I feel like I'm going to just keep on messing it up. And I'm going to just keep on messing it up, and the family going to be like, what the hell? Okay? So I'm going to have to practice with it, y'all. I'm going to have to play with it. I tried to go live from Zoom so that y'all can see the screen, and that was tripping. So, you know, it just is what it is. What I will do for the family, though, when it comes to being able to visually see this content, what I will do is I'm going to post it on my IG, and I'm going to post it in YouTube, in the community. So you'll be able to see it that way, okay? You'll still be able to see it. You'll still be able to receive it. You'll still be able to get the content. If you are a visual learner, like you need to read something, you need to see it. So you'll be able to see it that way. That's the best thing that I could do right now. Okay? So, the shadow self. I think we have an understanding of what the shadow self is. Let me know in the chat if y'all understand what the shadow self actually is. Let me know in the chat if you understand what the shadow self is based off of that quick little definition or that quick little understanding. Yeah, y'all get it, right? Because we've been talking about shadow self and shadow work for so long. You know, we've been talking about this stuff. It's been a thing. It's been a thing talking about the shadow self. But the problem that I see a lot of times when it comes to shadow work, we're going to get into it. Three most common mistakes I see when we're talking about shadow work. So now that we know what the shadow is, it's that wounded child, it's that unhealed trauma, it's the pain body, it's the emotional body, it's those unhealthy, unconscious belief systems that are always running in your life. It is the energy that is flared up in you whenever you are triggered. Boom, we got that. The next thing is shadow work. So what is shadow work actually? Shadow work is when you decide to shine light on that inner darkness, when you decide to shine light on that trauma, when you decide to shine light on those aspects of yourself that you are not proud of, when you decide to shine light on those aspects of yourself that you hide, that you avoid, that you do not express because you don't find it worthy, you don't find it beautiful, you don't find it all of these things. So when we're doing shadow work, we are being conscious about looking into those areas of darkness within our lives so that we can heal it and so that we can transform it. Okay? So that we can heal it and so that we can transform it. That is when we decide to do shadow work. Shadow work is about shining a light upon those things that aren't so pretty. Shadow work is about looking at those things that hurt us, that harmed us. It's about looking at the trauma. And here's the powerful part about shadow work, and here's why shadow work is so important. Your shadow was created based off of your humanity, right? Your human experiences. That's what actually created this shadow, this dark side of you, right? That's what actually created it, the trauma. Human experience, right? That all of us have on some level or another. That's what actually created the shadow, right? So when you do shadow work, it is automatically going to affect your human experience in the present moment. Okay? When you do shadow work correctly, this is going to renew your spirit. This is going to reinvigorate your relationships. This is going to help you to rediscover your purpose. But you have to do this work correctly. Otherwise, you can cause yourself great harm, great damage, emotional distress, physical distress, depression. All of this stuff can come up and wreak havoc on your life. When you start to do shadow work, honey, your world turns chaotic, but it turns chaotic so that you can regain real order. Order that is in alignment with truth. Order that is in alignment with your divinity. Order that is in alignment with your greatness. I really want to try this one more time. Okay, we got something. Can y'all see that? But can I scroll though? Y'all can see my screen, but how do I scroll it? windowed projector source, screenshot source. Y'all can see my screen though. I know you can. Y'all can see that, huh? And of course, it is my favorite color. I don't need to be seen. Y'all already know me. Y'all already know me. I don't need to be seen. Hopefully, my screen is moving with it. Let me see. And it is. So we're going to keep it like that. Can y'all see that beautiful screen? Can y'all see that beautiful work? Yes? On Instagram, y'all clearly cannot see it. Y'all have to come over to YouTube if you want to see this beautiful black and yellow PowerPoint I made. And trust me, I'm going to get better with this. I'm going to get better with this because I want to give you guys the information auditorily, right? You hear me speaking it, but I also want you to see it visually. So I'm going to make sure that I get better with this. All right? But I think y'all can see it. I think y'all can see it. All right? So, again, when we do shadow work, we are shining light on that inner darkness so that we can heal it, so that we can transform it. This deep internal work is absolutely necessary because it's going to help you to heal, renew your spirit, reinvigorate your relationships, and help you to rediscover your purpose. How does it do all of that thing? All of those things? Well, first of all, the spirit is made up of thought and emotion, mental energy, and emotional energy, feelings, right? That's what the spirit is actually made up of. A lot of times the thoughts that you are having, when they are unconscious, subconscious, and they are unchecked, they stem from the shadow self. Okay? Those beliefs, they stem from the shadow self. And so when you start to do shadow work, you naturally have to start transforming your thinking and transforming your feelings. When you do this, now your spirit is transformed. When your spirit transforms, now your relationships transform because now you're able to connect from a genuine, holistic, authentic space rather than connecting over trauma, right? Over trauma bonds. How does shadow work help you in discovering your purpose? How many of you know that your purpose is directly connected to your pain? The pain that you felt growing up, the shit that you've been through that has caused you to really question reality, that heartbreak, that pain, that heartache, that trauma, all of those things are directly connected to your purpose. So when you do shadow work and you can look at the opposite side of the experience, when you're not just seeing it as something that's negative, when you're not just seeing it as something that's traumatic, when you are able to do that, this is when you discover your purpose. Okay? No experience that you've ever had has just been for you to stay in that space and stay depressed and stay mad and keep reliving the same thing. No, you're supposed to have the experience, understand the experience, do the shadow work, transform it, and then boom, now you give that energy, you give that love, you give that wisdom, you give that understanding to the people around you. Purpose. And you feel passionate about it. Okay? So again, because the shadow self was created due to your humanity, whenever you get into shadow work, it's going to shake up your humanity. You're going to experience some chaos, but that chaos is going to create the order that you desire and that you seek to have. All right? Let me get a Ashe in the chat. Let me get an Ashe in the chat. I'm just going to trust that y'all are here and that y'all are present. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? For all of my people who are here on Instagram, y'all know how to find me on YouTube. And if you don't know how to find me on YouTube, click the link in my bio, scroll that link, scroll to YouTube and go join me over there. Okay? Because I'm doing a presentation, I'm going to use my phone to be able to keep up with the comments and the questions that are happening on YouTube. So y'all on IG, head over to YouTube because you need to see the presentation too. All right? Love y'all. Peace. All right. So my YouTube family. Because y'all know y'all the family. Y'all know y'all the family over here on YouTube. Y'all my people. Y'all my people. Y'all always come through. And so y'all get the presentation. And y'all gonna keep getting these presentations. And I'm gonna figure it out just for y'all because I love you. Let me go to my page. Boom. Y'all, because I love you. Okay. Boom. Perfect. I got some Ashes in the chat and I can see my screen. I know what's happening. Perfect. Let's jump into the 3 mistakes made when doing shadow work. Let's go ahead and jump into the 3 mistakes made when doing shadow work. The very first mistake that I realized that a lot of people are doing when it comes down to doing shadow work is that they chase the shadow instead of being called to the work. How many of y'all, let's be honest, how many of y'all started doing shadow work because you heard, so many people, I don't even have time to run it off right now. How many of you started pursuing shadow work because you heard, I don't know, these spiritual teachers tell you you should be doing shadow work? And you could be honest or not. I know the truth. A lot of times people start pursuing shadow work because Hood Mystic talks a lot about shadow work. I know Conjure Queen talks a lot about shadow work. Those are the 2 main people I know right now that have been talking about shadow work recently. But a lot of times y'all are doing shadow work just because, you're seeing your favorite YouTubers talking about shadow work. And so you start chasing the shadow. Next thing you know, you opening up a whole bunch of shit that you are not ready and equipped spiritually to deal with. You're not ready. You're not equipped spiritually to deal with it. So that's a major mistake that a lot of people are making. You hear something about shadow work on YouTube. Next thing you know, you studying the shadow work and you doing this and you doing that. And there wasn't a real resonance with you to start that work right now. Okay? Because when you do shadow work, essentially you're shining light on a lot of dark energy that dwells within you. When you do shadow work, you are bringing forth your own demons, your own darkness. Okay? So this work is important. Absolutely, at a certain point in your life, at a certain point in your spirituality, you are going to need to face your demons and to explore that inner darkness. Absolutely. But a lot of times, come on, Iman, a lot of times you're just doing it because it's trendy. And now you are exploring all your inner darkness and you don't have the spiritual energy, the physical energy, the emotional aptitude, the emotional intelligence to be able to work through that energy. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. And now this shadow dark side energy starts to manifest as certain shit in your life. Now you seeing demons pop up in your room. I'm telling you because I've been there. I was ready for that level of initiation. Right? I would be dreaming and I'm seeing dark shit in my dreams. Like I'm seeing faces pop out at me. I'm seeing all types of stuff. But I'm grateful because I learned from the experience and I realized that I had a lot of warrior fighter energy. So in my dreams, I was chopping off heads. But I think at the time, if I would have had a deeper understanding that this is not something that I have to chase, that this is something that will be called to me when it is time, I wouldn't have had to deal with so much of that dark energy. And when I'm saying dark, I'm not saying negative, because you'll soon realize that your shadow self is a part of your transformation, is a part of your growth. It's necessary for you to shine light on. It's necessary for you to give these dark aspects of yourself, and dark does not mean negative. I'm just saying it's that part of you that you don't really acknowledge. It's that part of you that you hide. It's that part of you that you aren't really connecting with. It's important for you to do that so that you can come into the fullness of who you are. All things have yin and yang. All things have masculine and feminine. All things have light and dark. Okay? We know that's one of the laws of the universe. The law of the universe, the law of gender, is feminine and masculine. One could be looked at as light, one could be looked at as dark. Okay? But one of the biggest mistakes that people are making is that they're chasing their shadow self instead of being called to shadow work. So here's some questions that you would ask yourself before embarking on this work. The first question that you want to ask yourself is, how am I feeling and thinking right now? How am I feeling and thinking right now? So if you're finding yourself in a low vibrational state of being, your thoughts are everywhere, they're not really high vibrational, they're not serving you, your emotions are low vibrational, you're not feeling connected to yourself, this is when you know, okay, let me investigate this inner darkness that is taking place. Here's the thing. We could even stop saying shadow work and just call it what it is. Negative beliefs, negative emotions surrounding you and your experience. Okay? Yes, I love that, Hathor. I love that. So yeah, the whole term shadow work has become so like, ooh, shadow work. Yeah, I'm in the shadow work. Honey, when we're talking about shadow work, we're talking about you transforming the negative beliefs you have. We're talking about you transforming the negative emotions that are within you. That's what we're talking about. Okay? And those beliefs and those emotions are creating in your reality. And sometimes those beliefs and those emotions can be so heavy that they show up as demons, as demonic energy, as dark energy, as nightmares. It shows up as divorce. It shows up as sickness. It shows up as illness. It shows up as depression. Okay? So the first and the biggest mistake that so many people make is that they start doing shadow work because they listen to people on YouTube. When in all reality, you've been doing shadow work since you was a kid. Because what is shadow work really? Shadow work is really investigating and looking at some of those beliefs and some of those emotions that you'd rather not admit that you have. I'm so animated right now. I wish I could be showing my face along with this because I'm like in a very theatrical space right now with this work. I'm like all into it. I'm all into the camera like y'all can see me and y'all can't. Y'all can't even see a girl, but I swear I'm in this camera like y'all can really see me right now and you can't. What's going on with that, D-Ray? What's going on with that, boo? You people can't even see you, girl. Let me see. Let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can do. Let me see how you can get D-Ray and content. Because I'm over here really acting like y'all can see me. I'm up in here for real, for real. Let's make me smaller. Y'all should see me over here. I'm all in the camera, all theatrical. Y'all can't even see me. Hilarious. Hilarious, hilarious, hilarious. All right. So again, the first mistake, and y'all see me moving my screen around. Okay, we getting somewhere. We getting somewhere. We're gonna do a little half and half. A little half and half. Half D-Ray, half information. I'm learning though, because I got to get this together. The Sacred Sister Circle is coming soon. The Sacred Sister Circle is coming. Let's make me tiny. The Sacred Sister Circle is coming in January 2022. And so I got to get my technology right. Oh, we may have something. A little bit of something. I got to get my technology right. So I'm working on it now. Thank y'all for your patience. I love you. 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 And I appreciate y'all. I appreciate all my sisters in the chat, all my sisters with whom I love. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Shout out to all my past and present clients that are in the chat. I love y'all. I cannot wait to see y'all in person for the Master Student Conference. Sierra, let me talk to you right now because listen, I know you in Mexico, but Mexico to Texas is not, that's an easy trip. And I think you should come. I think you should come. Okay? Yes, Lexi, you never too late. You're always right on time. Always right on time. All right, so let's keep going with this work. Let's keep going with this work. The second mistake that a lot of spiritual people make when it comes down to doing this shadow work is that they conjure up, but they don't change. You conjure up, but you do not change. Meaning, you bring up all of this trauma, you bring up all of this pain, you bring up all of these experiences that have been stagnant in the body. Let me go ahead and say that. Whenever you experience trauma, no matter how big or small, and you don't have the skills, which many of us as children did not have the skills to process trauma. When you bring up all of this trauma that has been stored in your body, you trigger certain things within you. Now you're coughing. Now you got headaches. Now your back hurting. Your legs hurting. Your womb feels unsettled. Y'all, when you don't know how to process trauma as children, which many of us did not understand what to do, how to do it, whatever, we repress our trauma. We repress it, we suppress it, and it goes and it gets stored in different aspects of the body based off of what energetic connection the experience has. So whether it has something to do with finances, right? If it has something to do with finances, something to do with money, something to do with value, worthiness, then you're going to be storing that trauma somewhere in the root chakra. And when you start doing this shadow work and you don't know how to fully process it, now you having lower back pains that you can't explain. Okay? So you conjure up, you start doing all of this shadow work, but you don't change it. You don't change the perception. You don't change the belief surrounding the trauma that has created this shadow self. Now you are manifesting illness, toxic relationship habits. You're being emotionally abusive, mentally abusive, maybe even physically abusive to yourself and others. Okay? So a lot of times, the second biggest mistake people are making when doing shadow work, they conjure up the thoughts, they conjure up the emotions, they conjure up the experiences, they conjure up the past, but they don't know how to process the past. They don't know how to change the past. That's why you need you a coach. In my healing work, we do shadow work. It's just a natural part. Healing is shadow work. Healing and transformation is shadow work. It's looking at those beliefs, it's looking at those emotions that are stopping you from being who you've been called to be. It's the things that are stopping you from being what you've been destined to be. But you can't conjure up those thoughts, conjure up those feelings, relive those experiences and don't know how to change it. Don't know how to give it new energy. Don't know how to give it new focus. When you do that, you set yourself up to really be a person that you don't want to be, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Okay? How many of you know and understand that when you decide that you are going to do healing work, a part of the work is finding a new belief, finding a high vibrational emotion? That's a part of the work. Let me know in the chat if you get that. Let me know in the chat if y'all understand that you cannot just conjure up this stuff. You cannot just shine light on your inner darkness, your inner negativity, and not do something with it. Shadow work is not just looking at it. Shadow work is not just thinking about it. Shadow work is not just remembering. Some of y'all have been so attached to the trauma that has created this shadow self. Some of you have been so attached to the trauma that has created this shadow self that when you go into shadow work, your mind is not expansive enough to see the opposite side of the coin. That's good. Oh, God. Y'all got to get y'all some of these essential oils. Goodness grace. Thank you, Spirit. Some of y'all you've been identifying with your trauma, really with your shadow so much that it is difficult to detach so that you can gain the perspective that you need. So here's some questions to ask yourself when you're doing this shadow work. What thoughts and feelings are arising? See, again, hold on, let me backtrack. You will know that it is time to do shadow work when you find yourself constantly being triggered. You emotional as hell. You can't get through a day, you can't get through a week without something triggering you and bringing up all of this emotion. Boom, I know I need to look at. There's something within me that is asking to be looked at, analyzed, and transformed. Let me get a yes, ma'am. Let me get a yes, ma'am in the chat if you understand that. You will know. So this is going back to the first mistake that people make, which is that they chase shadow work instead of being called to it. The first thing, the way that you will navigate and not fall into the trap of trying to just do shadow work because it's trendy, the way that you will know is if you find yourself constantly triggered, you find yourself really emotional, you find yourself feeling low vibrational, and it's lasting for an extended amount of time, right? It's not just, I'm feeling some type of way today, I'll be better tomorrow, but it's been 2 days, it's been 3 days, it's been a week, it's been a month, and you still not feeling the way that you want to feel. This is how you will know, I need to look at my shadow self. I need to look at my inner child. I need to look at the wounded child. I need to look at some of my past trauma and some of my beliefs surrounding that trauma because something is asking me to be transformed. This is how we know. Okay? Then once you have that knowing, you have that understanding, okay, I need to look at this. If you conjure it up, you need to make sure that you have the mental and emotional maturity and capacity to transform it. A lot of times we need help with that. I've received help with processing trauma. I've received help by getting another perspective. I tell you again, when you start doing this shadow work, there literally will be physical manifestations of pain. I'll tell you a great story about my experience with this about a year ago. And I wasn't even consciously into shadow work, not like I'm doing shadow work. You know how some people be like, I'm going to be doing shadow work, I'm into the shadow work. I never necessarily called it shadow work because I'm a healer. And so to me, I'm always transforming my thoughts, transforming my emotions, doing that work so that I can be my best self. So I never really even called it shadow work. But I know what it is to look at emotions, look at thoughts, and understand what's going on. So I remember about almost a year ago, I was having pain in my shoulder. Dream will tell you. I went to the doctor. I got an x-ray. On my shoulder because I'm like, something got to be wrong in here. There must be an inflamed nerve. Something must be wrong inside of this shoulder. I don't know what's going on. I go to the doctor to get an x-ray. Nope, everything looks normal. Pay my good hard-earned money, right? Everything looks normal. I get on the phone with Miss Blue, and I'm like, Miss Blue, for some reason, I got this pain in my shoulder, and I can't really, I know what the shoulders symbolize. I know the shoulders symbolize, carrying weight on your shoulders. I know the shoulders symbolize, carrying a burden, carrying stress, carrying things like that. I get all of that, but that's not what it is right now. So I get on the phone, Miss Blue, and we're talking, and she's saying, your armor is too heavy. And why when Miss Blue said your armor is just way too heavy, it hit me and I understood it. And what she was basically talking about was that I have been such a lover, such a giver of love, and in past lives didn't necessarily receive that back. So in this life, I've placed this armor, this shield around myself to only receive love. So if a person says something to me and it doesn't feel like love, it was just stacking on top of my armor. Okay? If a person, and this person can love me, they could have my best interests at heart. But if it didn't feel like love, like if they didn't speak to me from a space of lovingness, kindness, empathy, understanding, if it came out too harsh, I was not letting what they say or what they do penetrate my energetic armor. It would just stack on top. And so my armor had become too heavy. My armor had become too heavy. It had become too heavy with me not allowing the criticism of others to penetrate my armor, because sometimes criticism comes in the form of love, right? I wasn't letting that penetrate my armor. I was, if I did not feel like something was coming from the highest vibration, it would just sit on top of my armor, my energetic armor. And so I was feeling that pain. I was feeling the physical pain of this belief, of this shadow, of this emotion that people cannot truly love me. And if they love me, everything that they say to me is going to be kind. It's going to be easy to receive. It's not going to be tough, right? And so I manifested in this shadow work, in this healing work, I had to manifest the physical pain of this shadow self, of this shadow aspect, of this belief, of this emotion. Okay? So, fortunately, though, I got help from somebody who I love, Miss Blue. Right? And she tells me, she's like, you come from the school of love. Like, that's you. You are all love. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But sometimes you have to understand that love can come tough. Sometimes people that love you are going to tell you things that you need to hear, that you ain't going to want to hear, but you need to hear it, and you need to be able to let those things in. Miss Blue told me, you need to be able to strip that armor, take that armor off, take it off a little bit, and understand that you're strong enough to deal with anything. Okay? So, I'm so grateful for that experience. But a lot of y'all, you're conjuring up all of these things. You're conjuring up all of these emotions, all of these experiences, even past life stuff. You're conjuring up all of these things, and you don't have the skill, the resources, or the connection to certain people to gain perspective. Right? So you have to, in doing shadow work, yes, you have to bring up the experiences. I had to think about those past lives. I had to think about my dealings with rejection, my dealings with abandonment. I had to think about those things. I had to allow myself to feel them, but I had to find the opposite side of that. And the opposite side of that was I could take criticism regardless, right? I can take criticism. Like, if a person criticizes me, it doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean that I'm unloved. It doesn't mean that I'm invaluable, right? And depending who the criticism is coming from, it's a really deep form of love. Like when Dream tells me, babe, you need to be disciplining yourself to go live. You know, at one point in time, that would annoy the hell out of me because I'm just like, I'm going to go live when I want to go live. But he's telling me something that I need to hear based off of what I'm doing in my life and where I see my life going. I need to hear that, right? So I had to shift the perspective on what love is and understand that love is so much deeper than hearts, roses, heart eyes, all of that stuff like that, right? So if you're going to do shadow work, you need to make sure that you can transform what actually comes up. If you don't have the skills to transform and to gain the opposite perspective of what comes up, you're going to manifest pain in the body, toxic relationship situations, and really do yourself and others some harm. Okay? You're going to really do yourself some harm. You're going to do other people harm. I'm telling you. You'll find yourself being emotionally abusive, mentally abusive, even physically abusive, because you don't know how to process that trauma. I talk to women all the time. I talk to women all the time about being triggered when it comes to their children. And I'm trying to let you know that your triggering is a reflection of your shallow self, not them. Your children aren't doing anything wrong, but you have a shadow self. So your kids, they do something that triggers you, piss you off. Next thing you know, you're ready to get the belt and start whooping them. It's not right. It's not right. And so now your shadow self, your inner child, your wounded child, your pain body has you inflicting harm on somebody else because you have unresolved trauma. Because you have a belief system that you haven't checked and that you haven't transformed. Honey, I'm trying to tell y'all, some of y'all doing this shadow work and you're not ready to transform. Some of y'all will book me. Some of y'all will book me to coach you. And I'll start telling you what spirit is channeling to me. And instead of you being able to receive that, you fight me. No, I don't think that's what it is. No, I can't. No, I'm not doing that. No. Sis. Sis. That's your shadow self even right there. Okay? So, if you're going to do it, if you're going to conjure up the thoughts, if you're going to conjure up the emotions, you need to be able to change them, transform them, and get the other perspective. Okay? You need to be able to do that. So some questions to ask yourself. What thoughts and feelings are rising? How can I transform my perception on the experience that has created this aspect of my shadow? Understand your shadow self has many, many aspects. Your shadow self has many aspects going on. You got all of these different parts of you. So based off of whatever it is that you're dealing with, you need to ask yourself, how can I transform this? What is a different perception that I can have? Because at the end of the day, the shadow self is created when you as a child have an experience that caused you emotional or mental distress. You have this emotional and mental distress, and there is not a conscious adult around to give you the high vibrational perception, the higher vibrational perspective. Okay? So you have these experiences and nobody's able to tell you how to think about it, how to feel about it. And so you go on believing that whatever experience you just had is right, and it happened to you because you are this, because you are that, because you didn't do this, and because you didn't do that. Do we understand? So when we're doing shadow work, the goal is to transform and to choose a different direction. To choose a new way of thinking, to choose a new way of being, to choose a new way of feeling, to choose a new way of acting and behaving. Okay? When you were a child, you were supposed to receive that information, but many of us did not have a conscious adult around us to tell us a different perspective to take. All right? Let me get an ashe in the chat if y'all understand that point. Don't conjure up if you're not ready and willing to change. Don't conjure up the feelings if you're not ready and you're not willing to change it. Let me know in the chat. Let me get an ashe before I move on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This essential oil is so good. Yes, 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 yes. All right, that's enough ashes. I think I got it. Mistake number 3. Mistake number 3 that a lot of spiritual people make is you cannot communicate to create when you're doing shadow work. You cannot communicate to create. How many of you know that if you cannot express, and I mean verbally express, what it is that has taken place in your life that has caused you to have this shadow side, if you cannot express it, you will be paralyzed to it. What do I mean? A lot of times you all have problems, you have issues, you have things going on inside of you, but you refuse to speak it. And because you refuse to speak it, you refuse to change it. Let's just be real. How many of you know that when you keep your issues, your problems inside, they stay inside? They don't change. They don't transform. You have to be able to confess and admit through your mouth, through your voice, through your words. You have to be able to verbally express it so that you can transform it and so that you can create something new. When you cannot speak to it, it still has a hold on you. It still has a hold on you. When you cannot speak to it, it still has a hold on you. And if it has a hold on you, you are paralyzed to take action. Yes, mystical Jade. Internal pain causes sickness. Oh my God. Like, think about your mothers. Think about your mothers and the amount of pain, the amount of trauma, the amount of sadness they've experienced. And think about all of those times where they would rather go and cry in silence, where they would go and cry in solitude, where they would not let you in, where they would, they would keep it to themselves. You should not be doing no damn shadow work if you are not ready to give voice to those experiences. If you're not ready to say, you know what, so-and-so abused me, this is what happened, this is how I feel about it, this is the type of person that it made me to be. When you can give voice to something, now you're actually ready to let it go. How many of you know that your voice is healing? That's why moaning is so good for you. Your voice is so healing. You got to be like, you know what? I said it. I said it. It is what it is. I said it. I'm telling you. A couple of weeks ago, I had to literally say out of my mouth. If you want to heal something, you got to be able to say it out your mouth. I've had to tell my father, you know what? I think you could have done a better job. I think you made a lot of excuses. You made a lot of excuses as to why you didn't come through, why you weren't there. It hurt me when you didn't come to my college graduation. It bothered me to wait on you and to want you to be there, but you weren't. It reminded me of elementary school Desiree wanting her father to be there and he did not come. I had to tell my mother. I had to literally express to my mother that I was afraid of her. I was afraid of disappointing her. I was afraid of hurting her. I had to tell my mother that I have my own intuition, I have my own internal power, I have my own internal knowing, but I would second guess me to make sure that I keep her happy. Because I felt like if I express how I feel, if I express how I think, she's not going to like it. How many of you know that you don't get, if you don't give voice to your pain, you're not ready to heal it? Some of y'all need to be going outside and just screaming, yelling, cursing. This is the power of affirmations. The power of affirmations is you using your voice to create. But how many of you know that if it can work on the positive side, it can work to transform quote unquote negativity as well? See, when you don't give voice to your pain, it stays within the body and you don't take action on it. I had to tell Dream a couple of weeks ago, babe, I'm questioning my self-value. I'm questioning my worthiness. And just me hearing that put a fire under my ass to keep doing my healing work. To realize that I've been valuable. I was valuable when my mother conceived me. Without doing absolutely nothing, I'm valuable. Without doing absolutely nothing, I'm thebomb.com. When you are able to speak, this is going to cause you to take action. When you don't speak, when you don't hear it, when you don't verbalize it, you stay paralyzed to the pain. You stay stuck in that shadow. Some of y'all think that you can do this healing work without saying that you've been hurt, without saying and confessing to the trauma that has taken place. And not only confessing to the trauma that has taken place, but confessing to the effects the trauma has had on you. Some of y'all think that you can just do it by staying silent. And you cannot, because what you end up doing is just recycling the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same shit. You just keep on recycling it. But once you let it out through your voice, that's a release. And now you get to hear yourself and you can say, okay, I heard that. I get that. Think about when you've kept something in for so long and you finally say it, how it just sets you free. Some of y'all are not even set free from your trauma. And that's funny that we're all talking about the throat chakra, because we are talking about the throat chakra. And yesterday I was sitting in our magic room and I was encouraged, or I felt moved to start talking about the chakra. So I love it. And I was wearing a blue dress yesterday while I was doing that. And I was like, okay, we're going to do some chakra work in these next upcoming weeks. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But yes, y'all, you have to be able to communicate your hurts, communicate your pain in order to create a new reality. If you're not able to verbally express it, speak it, say it, whatever, you're not ready to recreate something new because you're still afraid of it. You're still afraid of it. You're still afraid of your experience. You're still afraid of your own shadow, your own demons. No, ma'am. No, sir. Speak it. Say it. What happened to you? How did it make you feel? How did it make you think? How has it affected your actions? You gotta own your shit. You gotta own it. I'm telling y'all, I had to own it a couple of weeks ago with Dreamwise. I had to own it. And I can tell you right now that I am in a better space. We are in a better space. I'm so grateful for this work because I couldn't support y'all. I couldn't support y'all in this healing work if I wasn't having the experiences myself. I remember we woke up, well, we were up early. I kind of woke up early. Dream wakes up early every morning just because that's just him. He's up early every morning. But something in my spirit woke me up. He was meditating. I called him. He said, oh, I was meditating. I was like, okay, well, can you come talk to me? He comes in the room. And I'm just like, babe. And I just told him. I just said, babe, this is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like I'm questioning my self-value right now, my self-worthiness right now. Like things are different right now and I'm just feeling it. And all of those feelings and all of those thoughts has caused me to be emotionally abusive to you. I had to say that so that I can get beyond it. If I did not say that, I would keep on having an internal battle with myself. But me giving voice to it is what helped me to get on the opposite side, the other side of that healing and have the realization that I needed to have. And I'm grateful to Dream because he was so receptive. He was so understanding. He says, He says, well, I read something that says that when you get to this stage of pregnancy, a lot of times the mother gets mad at the father and they just be going off on them. I was like, that may be partially true too. So it's absolutely, Sierra. It's the vulnerability. I had to go there. It was so freeing. It was so freeing. And I was just like, okay, now that I've given voice to it, I don't have to stay a victim to it. Honey, some of y'all are not giving voice to those shadowy sides. Who wants to say out of their mouth, I'm questioning my self-value? Y'all don't want to say that shit. You don't want to say that. I didn't want to say that. But it was the truth of the matter of how I was feeling at that time. It was the truth of how I was feeling that time. Shadow shit, wounded child, inner child stuff. That's how I was feeling at that time. And that's not something that you are ready to admit. Like when you're not feeling confident, you don't want to just say, you know what, I'm not really feeling confident in myself. You avoid that. You avoid it. But I'm telling you, the more that you avoid and you refuse to communicate and verbally express, the more you stay paralyzed to it. So once I was able to give voice to that and say that to Dream and say that out loud to myself, then I was able to take action. I was able to really check myself in any given moment. Okay? I was able to recreate. I was able to understand where my value lies and the value that I want to bring. I know I'm valuable naturally just from being born, just from existing in this space and time. But now I was able to tell myself, okay, this is what I want to do today. And if I accomplish these things today, I'm all right. Okay? I'm all right. I'm good. With or without anybody's approval. Okay? So, the 3 biggest mistakes that people make when doing shadow work: 1, they chase it instead of being called to it. 2, they conjure up but don't know how to change it. 3, they can't communicate and therefore they can't create. So again, stop chasing the shadow work. I know it's all trendy in the spiritual. I mean, you could type in shadow work on YouTube. You're going to find a million videos. But that doesn't mean that it is for you to chase it. It's for you to be called to it. Meaning, when you feel yourself being triggered, when you feel yourself being emotional, when your thoughts are not where they should be, that's the time for you to look at some of those beliefs, some of those emotions, right? Some of those experiences that have caused you to be who you've become right now. All right? Don't conjure up these feelings if you're not ready to change it. Don't conjure up these thoughts if you're not ready to change it. Don't conjure up these experiences to relive that trauma if you are not willing to change it. If you don't have the mental capacity, the mental expansion to transform how you're thinking and feeling about yourself, if you don't have that skill in this moment, I would postpone the shadow work, because what would end up happening is you're going to start manifesting pain within the body. You're going to start manifesting, toxic relationship bonds. You could potentially be abusive to the people that you love. Okay? Lastly, you need to be able to communicate to create. If you are not ready to give voice to your trauma, give voice to those beliefs, give voice to those emotions that you felt, you're not ready to change it, and therefore you're going to be paralyzed, you're going to be stuck, you're going to be held captive to the shadow. Okay? When you can give voice to it, that's when you know you're ready to change. I love that. I love that, Sierra. Premature shadow work. Premature shadow work. The last thing I'm going to give y'all is a simple process that y'all need to implement whenever you are doing this healing work. First of all, before I go into this, I love my little PowerPoint. I really love it. I'm going to get better at it. Thank y'all for being so patient with me at the beginning of this build. Thank y'all for being so patient and understanding as I was trying to figure it out. I'm glad that we at least right now have something going. we can see something. Okay? So thank y'all for that. Let's talk about the shadow work process. Now, here's the thing that I want y'all to know. I'm just giving you an overview. I'm just giving you an overview. All of this can go much deeper. Trust me, it can go much deeper. I'm just giving you a quick overview. All right? I'm just giving you a quick overview of it. Each step goes deeper. Okay, but these are just things that I want you to think about. First, I want you to have awareness, right? Become aware when that pain body arises. Become aware when the pain body arises, when these emotions and triggers come up. So when you start feeling annoyed, when you start feeling frustrated, when you start feeling angered, disappointed, whatever, you need to have awareness of that. Don't just dive into it. Don't just succumb to it. Become aware of it. I'm feeling some type of way right now. Something's coming up. Okay, have that awareness. Next, you want to acknowledge. So you want to recognize what in your present reality is causing this shadow self, this shadow side, this ego, this inner child to flare up. What did somebody say? What did somebody do? What did you smell? What did you hear? What happened that caused this emotional body to flare up within you? Definitely want to do that. So acknowledge that, recognize that, ask yourself that question. Next, you want to accept, okay? Meaning embrace the presence of those emotions. A lot of times we try to push down. We say, not today, Satan. We say, not today, devil. Not today. I'm not going to feel this today. Okay? It's okay to do that, but you have to be conscious of that, really. You have to be conscious of what it is that you're doing. A lot of times we do that because we don't want to accept how we're feeling. A lot of times we do that because we don't want to accept how we're feeling. We rather deflect. Okay? So you accept. Embrace the presence of those emotions. Lastly, and again, I'm telling y'all, this is just a glimpse. I can make whole videos on each of these things separately. This is just a glimpse into what's going on. Lastly, you need to ask and action. Ask Spirit in the moment. Spirit, what is a different perspective, a different viewpoint that I could perceive this situation from? How else can I perceive this? Because right now, how I'm thinking about this situation, it got me pissed, it got me angry, it got me frustrated, feeling rejected, abandoned, all of that. How can I detach from my trauma, which is what's triggering me right now? How can I detach from my trauma and see the realness, the reality of what's going on right now? Ask Spirit for that. Your higher self wants you to keep on transforming, to keep on evolving. But if you don't ask, how are you going to receive that, right? So ask Spirit, how can I perceive what I'm experiencing right now differently? Ask. After you ask and you get that quick download, it comes quick. But here's the thing. That download comes quick, but you're going to be tested. You're going to be tested because there's going to be a part of you that shadow self. Nah, be mad right now. Be pissed off right now. No, what's happening to you right now is so real. It is so real. They are offending you. They are pissing you off. They are mistreating you. This is very bad. Commit to the feelings. Just feel it. Don't worry about it. Just be mad right now. The shadow self, the ego, the inner child, it will do that. It will do that. It will amplify the feeling so much, especially when you are asking Spirit to give you an out. When you're asking Spirit to give you direction. So pay attention to that. But what I want you to do is ask Spirit for that. And I want you to create enough stillness. I want you to detach from the emotions just enough for Spirit to arise. Create that space between the emotions and between the thoughts just enough for Spirit to arise. And when Spirit arises and when Spirit says, it's you. That's what Spirit had to do to me. I'm telling y'all. Dream had asked me a question and it triggered me. And I knew right then and there, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to blame him because I know this is me. I know this is me. I know I don't have to take offense to what he is saying. Spirit was already telling me. Spirit was like, this is you. Detach. You don't have to go there. You don't have to feel no type of way. Separate yourself a little bit. Create space. Spirit is telling me this. So in those moments, you have to choose and take action. You're going to have to choose. You're going to have to choose. And so once you get that other perspective, like when Spirit told me, this is you, D. This is you, D. You don't have to take offense to what he's saying. This is you. And even if he was being nice, nasty, even if he was, you don't have to bite that bait. You don't have to. You don't have to. So what you gonna do? So in those moments, I'm telling you, choose the higher vibration. Choose surrender. Choose surrender. Choose to breathe into it. Okay? That's how it be, Mystical J. You be like, no, let me get at them real quick. And sometimes you do need to. Sometimes you do need to, but you have to do that from a conscious space and not an emotional space. Okay? So that's my build for today. That's my build for today. I love y'all. We done got all the way into it. I love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. I am super excited to see y'all at the Master Student Conference taking place in Houston. Listen, y'all, I will be so big pregnant. Y'all gonna be like, girl, you about to pop. And that is so true. I will be completely about to pop when we have the Master Student Conference. I will be completely about to pop. And that's okay. That's okay. I will be completely about to pop, but that's okay. At least I'm gonna have a doula. I'm gonna have my girl Iman in the building. So if something happens, if something happens in the moment while we're there, at least we'll have Iman there and she can catch a baby. Okay? At least we'll have Iman there and she'll catch a baby. So I'm gonna be out there. I'm gonna be out there at the conference, but I'm excited to see y'all. Also, all of my sacred sisters, go to my website. Go to my website and do me one favor. I know a lot of y'all said happy birthday, but you know what? Take your birthday wishes to another level. Go to my website, click the tab that says Sacred Sister Circle, and simply sign up to become a part of the community. Why do you want to do that? Because you want to stay up to date as I'm dropping different gems, different information surrounding the Sacred Sister Circle. You need to get ready. You need to get ready mentally, spiritually. You need to get ready. The Sacred Sister Circle is coming January 2022. So, go on over there to my website. Link is in the bio. Click the tab that says Sacred Sister Circle. Put your information in there. I ain't calling you today. I ain't texting you today. I ain't doing none of that stuff. But I want you in that community. So when I do start putting information out, you are there and you are ready. All right? You're there and you are ready. Also, if you want to give Baby Kim some gifts or whatever, there's a link in my bio to the baby registry. You can do that too. That's totally up to you. Not mandatory. Of course it's not. Whatever you want to do, it's there. Everything you need is in the bio. All right? I think I'm down to take one question from the chat. One question from the chat regarding shadow work. One question from the chat regarding healing. One question about anything in the chat. Let me know something. Let me know something. Phoenix from the Ashes says, hey, I want to know the 3 mistakes. You're going to have to rewind, Phoenix from the Ashes. I love that you're rising up from the ashes. I love that, but family, when I tell you, we've been on here for a while. So I don't want to give you the watered down version. I want you to get the fullness of it. So rewind and re-listen. It's going to bless your spirit, I'm telling you. Anybody else got a question on healing and shadow work before I get out of here? I just love talking to y'all. Anybody else? How do you forgive people quietly? I got a technique for you. I love that. First of all, Sky, what's up, sis? Thank you for asking that question. So forgiveness is for you. So the quietly part you don't even have to worry about, because you don't have to say, I forgave you. You know what? I'm good on you. You don't got to do any of that. Okay? You don't got to do any of that, right? So, here's two techniques that I use when it comes down to forgiveness. The first technique that I use when it comes down to forgiveness is you need to get you a journal. You need to get you a journal. You need to get you a tablet. You need to get you something. And what you want to do in that journal, I thought I had a picture of it because I usually write these things down. What you want to do in that journal is you want to create 3 columns. You want to create 3 columns. In one column, you want to put your name. In the middle column, you want to leave that blank. And then on another side of the column, you want to put the other person's name, right? Who you are forgiving. And what you want to do is you want to write what that person has taught you and what you have taught them. Okay? Actually, I said that wrong. Let me rephrase that for you. In the middle column, put the person's name. On the right column, put what they taught you. On the left column, put what you taught them. All right? Middle column, the person's name. Right column, what they taught you. Left column, what you taught them. And I want you to spend time with that. I want you to meditate on that, because it's easier to forgive someone when you realize how they have helped you to grow and how you have helped them to grow. Now, they may not recognize how you've helped them to grow, and that's not your business if they do, if they don't. But when you know internally the impact that you've had on them, it could be your mama. It could be your mama. There is some way that you have helped your mother to grow. And there is some way that your mother has helped you to grow. There's some way that your mother has supported you in your spiritual growth, in your spiritual transformation. And so when you can focus on that instead of focusing on all the pain, all the hardship, all the trauma, all the toxicity, when you can shift your focus to the benefits of those experiences, it's easier for you to forgive, because you realize how those experiences have shaped you to be the divine being you are today. Okay? We got that? See, and that phoenix from the ashes, that's a limited perspective that you have there, for the simple fact that even in times of trauma, distress, despair, and people being toxic, there is a reason why you had that experience. There's a reason why you had that experience. There is something that experience has taught you about yourself that you needed to learn. And if we're being all the way real, when it comes down to the spiritual work, you have to take accountability and ask yourself on a deep spiritual level, why did I manifest this mama? Why did I manifest this daddy? Why did I manifest this man? Why did I manifest these badass kids? Why did I manifest them, and how are they helping me to be my best self? It doesn't have to be intentional, like, ooh, I'm going to teach you how to be great. I'm going to teach you how to love yourself. No, it is through the trauma, it is through the distress that they teach you how to be great. It is through the lack of love that they teach you to love yourself. You have to appreciate them for that. If you don't, you will continue to be a slave to those people, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, so on and so forth. When we don't recognize how an experience with someone has powered us up, those people still have power over us. Okay? Okay. Glad my good sis got that. How do you surrender to the healing process? You do it moment by moment. You do it moment by moment. See, a lot of times we think surrendering and letting go is some big thing. It's in each moment you asking yourself, okay, what am I thinking and what am I feeling? Are these thoughts and are these feelings in alignment with where I'm seeking to go? If the answer is no, you take a deep breath and you ask Spirit, give me the thought, order my steps. That's why that song had came up in my spirit while I was teaching, talking, whatever we want to say. But order my steps in your words. Dear Lord, lead me, guide me every day. Send your anointing, Father, I pray. Order my steps in your word. Surrender to what it is that you desire to have. And here's the thing you got to understand. When the negative emotions come up, when the triggers come up, this is a sign. This is a symbol. This is the guidance that you've been asking for to give you the understanding on how to move. When the negative emotions comes up, you need to even have gratitude in that, because it is letting you know, okay, I'm out of alignment from what I really want to feel and what I really want to experience. So let me shift. Let me shift my perspective. Surrendering to the healing process is asking yourself moment by moment, is what I'm doing, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, is it in alignment with where I'm going? And if it is not, Spirit, give me the guidance. Send me somebody to give me a word. Okay? Some of y'all really need to submit to a teacher. Some of y'all really need to connect with a coach, to connect with a therapist. You need that support because you've been doing it by yourself for so long, and how you've been doing it by yourself has gotten you to where you are right now, and clearly you are ready to go further. But you cannot go further with the current amount of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that you have right now. And so you connect with somebody who may understand what you don't understand, and you trust what they say to you. You implement what they give you so that you can transform. Y'all keep on trying to do it by yourself, and you're not meant to do this whole thing by yourself. You're not meant to heal and transform by yourself. You need somebody to give you guidance, somebody to give you understanding, somebody to speak a word into you that you have not heard. And when you get that word that you have not heard, you act on it. And you watch the transformation take place. Okay? So surrenderance simply means letting go. You need to get the book Letting Go by David R. Hawkins. Letting Go by David R. Hawkins. Get that book and read it. I ain't saying you got to read it from front to back. Maybe you get it, you pop a page open, you read that page, and you take action on that. Okay? But genuinely, y'all, you have to detach. Detach and stop identifying with the trauma and start identifying with the healing. Start asking yourself, what does my healed, happy, whole self look like, act like, talk like, feel like? And when you're still in that space of trauma, you say, hold on, that's not what my happy, healthy, whole self looks like. Let me, okay? Surrenderance is constantly, moment by moment, breathing through it, asking yourself questions, being open and receptive to those answers. When you receive those answers, you act on it. All right? Stop thinking about it and do it. Stop thinking about it and do it. It's clearly a book for you right now, especially based off the question that you asked. All right? So that's my spiel for today. I will be catching y'all some other day. Love you guys so much. I look forward to seeing y'all at the Master Student Conference. I look forward to seeing y'all back here for